And we are live. Awesome. 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 We're looking forward to getting into this. We are live here in the Six Figure House Flipper group. I'm going to be talking about like what to do if your flip doesn't sell. So this is a lot of like beginners especially have this kind of fear, like, okay, what if I buy a house? What if I fix it up? What if I try to sell it and it doesn't sell? I know it's like less of a concern with regards to today's hot market, but I know it's a concern kind of going into the future or just someone getting started. Like what happens if it doesn't sell? You go through all this effort, you go through all these things and nothing happens. So we're going to be talking about that today. It's kind of a fear holding people back. So I want to slowly dismantle a lot of these fears that are holding folks back. And that can, then help you get to the next level and help you like level up with regards to your like real estate, hit the six figure mark with flipping houses. That's really key here. So really want to cover that as well. As we get into it, want to talk about like the fear holding you back. So I think like if we can dismantle like these little fears one by one, it's not like, oh shit, nothing's holding me back from making this happening. All my fears are gone. Let's make this happen. Let's hit six figures. So if you're watching the live, if this is how we always do it, comment hashtag live, hashtag LIVE. If you're watching on the replay, comment hashtag replay. And what that does, it like shows Facebook like, hey, people are watching this, and it's going to show it to more people, more people who can benefit from this. This is the Six Figure House Flipper group. So everyone in this group wants to learn how to get started flipping, either get their first flip, get to six figures. So just being able to watch this sort of material is really helpful for everyone. So do a favor, hit the like button, comment hashtag live, hashtag replay if you're watching on the replay, and let's just get into it. So I want a little bit more about me, and then let's talk about the topic here. So what can we talk about here? So I want to talk about my background. So my name is Victor. If you're not familiar, I'm primarily a fix and flipper. I live in Gainesville, Florida. That's where I do the most of my flips. I went full-time about 2.5 years ago. Before I was working a 9 to 5, wasn't really cutting it. Now I'm full-time in real estate and love every minute of it. Honestly, that's, it's really exciting. It's really cool and it's really fun and all that good stuff. So that's the story there. So for me in fix and flips, I did about 20 fix and flips last year, 30 fix and flips this year is the goal, and currently on track. So just want to do more and more of that. Is what I do. So I'm pretty experienced when it comes to fix and flips. A lot more to learn, don't get me wrong, but I still excited to like share my knowledge here. So this group is for people who want to get their first flip or get to six figures, like how to get the money, how to get the deals, how do you run your numbers, and then how do you stop fear from holding you back? Because a lot of people get into that analysis paralysis, and if you get into this analysis paralysis mode, like you're not able to move forward and you're just kind of stuck. And with where you're at, if you can be honest with yourself, like, are you happy with where you're at? Or do you think you're destined for more? Do you think you can accomplish more and be more, earn more, especially like for you, for your family? So just have that in the back of your mind here and just realize like fear is a big thing holding you back. Let's jump into it without further ado. So what happens if your fix and flip doesn't sell? So let's just dive into it. So let's say, okay, you buy a property, you fix it up, you list it. It's very important, like what happens next, just to better understand like what's going on. So for example, like if you list a property, it's very important to understand like how many showings you get. So I want to share this here with everyone. I'm going to share a screen here. We listed this property here recently. We listed this property last weekend. So it's this one here. It actually should show as pending because it has been pending. But it's very important to watch. I typically like to watch the Zillow saves just to see like how much traction there is. So typically it's something like 1 in 5 Zillow saves becomes a showing. And then you have to know your numbers, like 1 in 5 showings becomes an offer. So that's what it roughly is for me in my market. With me working with other students, because I mentor other folks, that's typically what they see as well. So it's really important to keep track of these numbers. So if this number is way out of whack, let's say you have 1,000 saves and nobody's seeing it, well, there's something wrong. So that's kind of the first thing. So the first like leading metric of success is the showings. People, realtors reaching out or people reaching out like, hey, I want to see this property. So if your property is is not getting any showings, there's something going on there. If you are going and getting showings, we'll deal with that in a second. So let's say like you're at the property and like the property's listed and it's getting showings, but it's not selling. So if that's the case, you need to be talking to the realtors, get some feedback. Like, wait a second, why, what did the buyers think, or what's holding them back from moving forward? So that's the best way to deal with it. Like the feedback, like if they have the same piece of feedback, like, hey, Victor, everything's great, but we hate the kitchen. And then like the second realtor says like, hey, Victor, everything's great, but the buyers don't like the kitchen. So you just want to triangulate. Like if the same piece of feedback comes up over and over again, that's when you need to realize, like, take a stop and realize like, okay, I need to fix that for it to sell. So that's like kind of the first thing. So like make sure you're, getting showings. If you're getting showings, like figure out the piece of feedback there. If you're not getting showings, let's talk about that. If you're not getting showings, it's typically a price issue. It's typically a price issue, especially in today's hot market. A lot of our properties are selling, multiple offers within a couple of days. So if you're not even getting showings, it's likely overpriced. It is going to depend on your market, how hot your market is, whether it's a seller's market, buyer's market. But especially in today's hot market, when things are going super quick, if it's typically overpriced is what's holding you back. So you have to look at that. So just to reframe, just to think through this a little bit. So if you have that same property, so let's say you're listing at 300,000. If you listed that property, let's say for $1 million, like would anyone really be interested? Probably not really. Not really. Just because like, oh, that's way overpriced. Like everything is selling for, whatever X, and that's like way overpriced. Let's take the other extreme example. Let's say that house was listed for $1 or $1,000. If it was listed for $1,000, do you think it would sell? Yes, it would sell within an hour. Someone would, throw money at you like, hey, take my money. I want to buy this house. So it's really, just to use that example, it's really thinking about those two extremes. So is it worth, $1,000 or $1 million? Somewhere in the middle or somewhere like in between those two numbers is actually the correct answer. So it's just trying to find that balance, of like what it could sell for. So that's if you're not getting showings. So typically the price is too high. Like you want to understand like the market and like where we're at. But typically nowadays, like if you're not getting showings, that's the thing holding folks back. So I wanted to share that on that as well. So you got to look at the feedback and you got to get like the showings as well. It is typically a price issue. So you have to balance like how fast you can sell with. You have to balance how fast it can sell with like maximizing the price. So that's really key here. So that's, before we get into like the different exit strategies, I would start with that. Like you bought a property to fix it up and sell it. I would say as your first option is to figure out like, okay, I still want to sell this place. Like, understand what's going on and what's holding it back from being sold. So that's the first thing I'd say. Second thing I'd say is to like explore other exit strategies. So if it, let's say, continues to sit on the market, like there's something going wrong with it, like, okay, cool. That's not ideal, but it gets to a certain point where like, okay, screw it. I want to explore other options. I want to take it off the market. So what are your other options? Well, there's plenty. I'm going to go over two. There's lots of different options. I'm just going to go over two today. The first option is like a rental option. So the rental option is like, hey, let's turn this property into a rental. That's great for like more affordable houses where like the numbers make sense. I want to share with you guys a deal I did recently where that happened. So this is a property. It's about to close here, which is awesome. But I'll tell the story. So we bought this property. It's next to a road. It's kind of next to kind of like a busy road here in Hawthorne, which is about 15 minutes east of me. But still was a great deal. I initially ran numbers and I thought we could sell it for about 140. We were going to buy it for 87. We were going to put in about 11, and then we're going to sell for 140. So, based on those numbers, like, hey, not that bad of a deal. Not that bad of a deal. So like, okay, cool. That's not bad. So what happened was, so we bought it, we fixed it up, and it was about that 11. I think it was 10 to 15. Bought it for 87, put in 10 to 15. We sold it, got under contract, which is great. And then what happened was it didn't appraise. So it appraised, we had under contract, I think 130, something like that. So it wasn't going to be a home run deal, but it was still going to be a good deal. So I had it under contract 130. and then it appraised for 109. So for us to sell that property, this property here, we would have had to take a hit of like, and we would have lost money at that point. We would have had to take a 20K price cut. I was like, no way, that's not going to happen. So we turned this into a rental. So basically what we did, we bought it for 87, put in a, 10 or 11, whatever. So we were going to be all in, about 100K, 100K, that's not bad. 100, 110, I guess, with all costs and financing fees, all that stuff. What we ended up doing, we ended up renting it for about 1,100 a month, 1,150 a month, something like that. So met the 1% rule. So we had to rent it out for a couple months. Eventually the tenant moved out, and then we tried to list it and sell it again. And after it got under contract, which is great. And now it's set to close probably like that next week, early next week. So that's what I mentioned. So sometimes like with it not selling, and it did appraise this time, by the way. So with it not selling, like turning it into rentals, because we got, several months of cash flow. So it wasn't the worst thing for it to not sell. Like that's why it's so important to like buy these properties, right? Just because like, even if it doesn't sell, like it's, you can turn it into rental. Like, hey, we were making like $300 a month, $400 a month cash flow, which wasn't bad. And we got a property manager, all that good stuff. But it's just one of those things, like if this is your worst case, like that's not even that bad, honestly. I have a couple other examples like that, but that's the rental option. It's really important, like when you're getting into a deal, just to know your other options. Like if you're going to buy a property, like, hey, what's my best case and what's my worst case? And part of your worst case in building out that scenario is just understanding what I can rent it out for. Because you can always just put it in like a holding pattern, just like we did, and then continue to like rent it out for a little bit and then sell it later. That's what we did. So we bought this one, I think last year. Tried to fix it up, sell it, and then it didn't go through. And then we sat on it for like 6 months and then relisted it and got it sold. So still going to be a profitable deal. So sometimes your worst nightmare isn't even that bad, guys. So hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully that's helpful there. What else here? Let's talk about that. So the first option, just like I mentioned, is like, okay, cool. I intended this property to flip it. So let's just understand the feedback and play around with the price. So that's their first piece, first option. Second option is your rental option. Just like is mentioned here, like worst case, it's not that big of a deal. Just turn it into rental. It's still cash flowing as long as you bought it right. And we can see this property here. Let me show you some pictures. Oh, why are those pictures so small? I can show the 3D. Let's do the 3D view. So this is the front. So this is the road. So you can see it's like a 4-lane highway. And that's kind of why it wasn't selling as well. It's like a 4-lane highway, so it's a house right there. So it's kind of a greenhouse, not that bad. It's kind of the front porch, like a sitting porch area. I'm going to drop this link actually. No, you guys can look this one up. You can 21315 Southeast. Go through the front door here. Got the little living room here. Looks pretty nice. This is when it was staged. It's not currently staged anymore. It's got a bedroom here. Got this like nice little living room area. So not bad. I think the biggest piece of feedback we got was the road. It was the road and the size of the property, because this is only like a 1/4 acre and this is a little more country. So the folks wanted like bigger acreage. So it was those two things. What's the feedback? So that's just a bedroom. Yeah, so nice. We did, I think this was already in here. I think it was in good shape when we bought it. Like I think it was just a new roof and a lot of little things we had to fix. So that wasn't a big deal. So bedroom number 2, same thing. So it's a nice place. It's a nice place, guys. Let's go kitchen. Got a nice little kitchen here. Fridge. Kind of not in a great place, but still. Got another bedroom here. I like these accents, by the way. Our staging lady does that. It looks really cool. A little kids room here. Helps people visualize. And that's why we stage a lot of our properties. Helps it sell quicker and helps it sell for more. Got a bathroom here. But overall, you can see like, hey, it's nicely done. But for people like seeing it, like the feedback again was the road. So we eventually got sold, which is great. Under contract. That's pretty much it. But so that's your second option. So I just want to show you all that real quick. That's your second option is, what if you turn it into a cash flowing rental? Like I know typically when people buy a flip, let's say you want to make 30K, that's typically most impactful for folks. Like if I could, give you 30K or $300 a month right now, most people would be most financially impacted by the 30K, because then they can pay off debt. They would have a bigger emergency fund. They'd just be in a much more comfortable place financially. But even $300 a month, like, that's not terrible. That's not terrible. That's the second option. Third option, this is an Airbnb option. This is an Airbnb option. So as you guys know, Airbnb is pretty hot. So you do it. This is what's called like a long-term rental. So you get like one person in there for like 12 months or whatever. And then there's like what's called a short-term rental, which is like the Airbnb. So that's more like, people are staying there a night, 2 nights, maybe a week, cycling through. So that's an option as well. I want to share, there's a student of mine who did that very successfully. I have a lot of students who've done it successfully, but this one stands out. By the way, I have some case studies here because I do mentorship if y'all want to check it out. Got 50 plus. I think that's higher now. I think we've got more success stories. All these people getting flips, getting deals. That's awesome. Let's talk about, here's here at the bottom, Jared. I won't go over his numbers, but I think we talk about that in his first interview here, in his first case study interview. So he bought a flip. I don't want to disclose the numbers unless he's comfortable with that. So he bought a flip, fixed it up, put it on the market, and he put it on the market. And like the first time it went under contract pretty quickly, that's awesome. Put it under contract, and then there came some things on the inspection report, and the buyer backed out. And he's like, okay, so he fixed all those things. Like the buyer kind of panicked, which is, that happens. So he's like, okay. So he fixed all those little things, relisted it, put it under contract again relatively quickly. Like, okay, cool. And then I think the buyer backed out again. I can't remember why. Maybe their financing fell through. It was for a different reason. So basically at that point, he was like, hey, I bought this flip. I put some money into it. I really, I don't want to list it again, because then, third time, like what if it falls through again? So what he ended up doing is he ended up turning it into an Airbnb. So he put some furniture in there. I don't want to share specific numbers. I think he shares it in here. But he was able to turn it into like a successful Airbnb, like really cash flowing really well. And since then the property is appreciated and grown in value, so he could always just sell it for more. But he's in a really good place with that property. He's making like a good amount of money. So it's turning these like losses into wins. And that's the thing, especially a lot of like beginners don't understand that they mark off, like if it's a loss, it's like, oh, it's a loss, and they kind of give up. But it's really important as you're getting into this is like understanding like, okay, I know this is like a temporary loss. Like, how do I turn this? How do you like judo flip? If you're familiar with judo flip, like how do I judo flip this into a win? And judo is like the art of like, it's like type of martial arts, like a type of wrestling, but basically like you use your opponent's force against them. So that's why I wanted to mention here with the Airbnb option. That's typically better for like higher end properties or higher end properties in like a good area. But just wanted to share that too. So just to quickly go over the options again here. So the first one, so let's, overarching thing, like what happens if a flip property doesn't sell? So I would still like think through the options with regards to like still selling the property. So just figure out like, okay, why is it not selling? Okay, are you not getting showings? If you're not getting showings, the price is too high. But you have to gauge it to the market, but in today's market, price is too high. Okay, flip isn't selling, you're getting showings, but nobody's putting an offer. Okay, what's the feedback? If everyone says like, oh, this, like I gave my example, like, oh, it's too close to the road. We knew that going in, and figured it'd be fine. So, okay, you get the feedback. If you can fix the feedback, you fix the feedback. So first option is like, okay, let's just figure out how to flip this thing and figure out what's going on. Second option is the rental option. So I gave my example. So let's say you're taking off the market, you just turn it into a rental. On my example with that property, cash flowing $300 a month, decided later like, hey, let's sell this thing, got it under contract, got it sold. So that was the second option. That's rental option. And there's more options, by the way, guys. There's a ton more options. I don't want to talk about those. I want to just keep this video succinct. Third option was the Airbnb option. We kind of talked about Jared's example where he bought it, fixed it up, tried to sell it once, fell through, tried to sell it twice, fell through. He's like, screw this. This is a great property. I don't care what anybody says. Turn it into an Airbnb. And now he's making buku bucks, huge bucks. And some people like enjoy the cash flow more. I'm more of like, okay, in, out, big check, move on. So that's more of like what I enjoy. So there's that. There is that. But was this, guys, helpful? Did you learn something? If you learned something, go ahead and put it in the comments like, hey, I learned something. Yes, I learned something, or like, yes, this was helpful. Yes, this was valuable. We go live here I try to go every week, once with a topic on Wednesdays, and then once with a Q&A, which is every Thursday, like just an open question and answer that I, help people with. But let me know if this was helpful. Again, my name is Victor, so I'm a fix and flipper. I also teach people how to fix and flip, like how to get started with your first flip, second flip, how to hit 6 figures consistently. And I've done it over and over again. Done it for myself. I've done it for a lot of students. I share with you all these case studies. I've got a lot of successful students in here. David, just got his first flip in the middle of renovation. That's going to be an awesome deal. Malcolm got his first deal under contract in 3 days, which is awesome. Jose just closed on his second flip, I think. And then he has other ones he's working on. He just barely started the program. Chris, I can go through these all day, but like a lot of successful students here. Steven's got 1 flip, and then I think he's got like 1 or 2 others. He's kind of back burner, going to close here hopefully soon. Mona's in the middle of her first flip. Napoleon closed his last week. Congrats to him. Gabriel closed his like 2-3 months ago. They're in the middle of renovation. Tony and Cooper, they sold their last flip for like 84K net profit, which is amazing. It's life-changing money. Greg is closing his next week. He bought it, kind of renovated it, sold it. He's closing next week. It's going to be a 31K, which is awesome. I mean, I can go through these all day. There's more here. Munya, got Heather here, Panina. There's so much more here. But I also mentor folks. So if you're interested, comment below, and we'll just go from there. I can help you. How do you get the money? How do you get the deals? How do you run your numbers? How do you deal with contractors? All that stuff, everything A to Z. Because I'm out here doing it with the fix and flipping, and I teach others how to do the same. So let's wrap it up there, people. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. And that's all I have for you today. That's what you do if your flip doesn't sell. So hopefully that's been helpful, and have a nice night.